This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, C-suite executives, and senior leaders share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Lomit Patel, and I am the Vice President of Growth at IMVU, which is the world's largest avatar-based social networking app. And my responsibilities there is to manage all of our user acquisition, retention, and monetization across all our apps. And on top of working at IMVU, I've also written a book, which is called Lean AI, which is part of the Eric Ries best-selling Lean Startup series.
Excellent. Yay. Well, I'm so excited to hear some of your ideas and some of your thoughts today, especially coming from, your industry. I don't believe that we've had anybody from this industry yet, from the AI side. So I'll be really excited to hear your thoughts. Question number 2, what's the best thing about leading people from your perspective?
So for me, the best part about leading people is the ability to inspire them. And by that, I mean being able to see potential in them before they see it in themselves. And so, I really enjoy, working with people and really sort of helping them to sort of see what they're really capable of and try to help them to become the best version of themselves.
Oh, I love that. Putting up their personal best, baby. Right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Question number 3 for you. I often hear from other leaders that business would be great if it weren't for that pesky people part. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
My part, I'll tell you that again. From my perspective, business is all about relationships. So unfortunately, you can't take the people out of it. And, I feel that, in order to be really successful in business, you really have to figure out the right way to communicate with people, because it really comes down to really identifying, what's the best way to get your message across and the best way to respect when other people are talking to you as well. So I feel it's all about improving your communications, because ultimately, if you can't work with people, then you're never going to be successful in business.
And it's true even of customers and stuff as well, right? I mean, it's not even just the people on your team, but it's your customers, your vendors, all these people that we partner with. It just seems there's people everywhere you go.
That's right.
That's cool. Question number 4, what other successful business leaders like yourself should be on the podcast, or should we be listening to, right? Who should we be paying attention to and learning from?
I would say, for me, Kevin Henschel, who is the Chief Operating Officer at IMVU. Not only is he my manager, but I've had the ability to work with him for 3 years, and he's been a great mentor as well. And he leads a big team, and I really enjoy working with him, but also learning from him, just the way he's able to really figure out how to work well with all the different people in his team. And I think it really comes down to him spending time to really get to know them individually as a person.
That's huge. Like investing the time to get to know the actual person, not the role or not the job, but the person that's actually in the seat doing the work.
Definitely.
That's such an important part of leadership, I think. What piece of advice about communication would you give to other leaders?
So this is really a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, which is really, it's really important to listen before you speak, especially as a leader, and to really give other people the opportunity and to really express themselves without trying to sort of cut them up and try to paraphrase what they might be trying to say. So having said, that for me, that has worked out to be really well. Once I've been able to really listen and give people the time to really express what they're trying to say, it really helps me to become a better leader, because I'm able to really collaborate all the different ideas that people have on my team, and then able to use that to really develop a really good outcome based on what we're trying to solve.
I love that. Did you have any particular books or classes or strategies around listening that you think were particularly impactful or powerful for you?
I would say I wish I did, because I would have learned the lesson a lot sooner.
Well, that's
But for
sooner,
me,
more through like
yeah,
hard knocks, right?
I know, yeah, yeah. It's yeah. For me, it was more about kind of learning from just asking people for feedback. But you
Mm,
know, I feel that especially you know, uh, in this day and age, there's so much access to getting this type of help a lot sooner. So I would definitely encourage people to definitely look for a coach and you know and try to you know. Identify those blind spots, because generally it's harder for people on your team to really give you that feedback, because they sort of feel a little bit sort of intimidated to tell you that.
yeah, and even probably as much as, humbly we might go and ask for the feedback. You're right. Sometimes the oh of our title sometimes make
Yeah,
it challenging for people to be, constructive or candid about what they might, hope from us as opportunities for growth and development. But to your point, and I think this is the point that I really want people to take away, is you actually asked the question. You were brave enough to actually go and ask somebody what feedback they had for you. And I think it's a real testament to the environment that you built that they were actually able to give you that feedback. So again, maybe there's some element of where take the strategy of go and ask the question and then see if you do get the feedback, and perchance, maybe that's the mirror that you need to know there's an opportunity for establishing more trust and things like that to truly get the feedback that you're looking for and need to get better.
definitely. I think one thing that you mentioned, which is really important, is establishing trust. And I have found the more vulnerable that I've been able to be with people, especially on my team, that the more they're able to open up and give me the feedback that I need to continue to be a better leader as well.
Ooh, the dreaded V word, huh? Vulnerable. Yeah, I wouldn't mind for you just to provide a little bit of context to that one for the audience as well, because I think there's a lot of fear around being vulnerable as a leader. We have to be right, or I'm not a one to share a lot of information about myself, is how they interpret that word vulnerable. Do you think that vulnerable means like you have to share all your dirty laundry, or is it more about just humbling yourself in some way and really being willing to put yourself in other people's shoes?
Sure. I would say it's a combination of both, but primarily it's about, just being transparent when you don't really know the answer, instead of trying to make up the answer.
Yeah.
I felt early on in my career, you generally sort of feel like you need to know all the answers, but the reality is the best leaders don't always know the answer, but it's about trying to figure out how to come to the right answer together.
And again, hopefully they're surrounded by the people who can get it for them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of that. I love that. Who's your favorite boss or teacher? Who's influenced you?
So for me, going back, I would say Kip Morgan, who's my manager when I first moved to San Francisco, and I started working at a company called People PC. What I loved about Kip more than anything else was really that he saw potential in me before I saw it in myself. He hired me to come into a role where you know, uh, there was a bit of a learning curve, but he clearly had the confidence that I would be able to get over that. And on top of that, he was one of those managers where you always felt like he had your back, and you had that trust. So, you know, the important thing to come out of that is that you have more confidence to try and take more risks and try new things without feeling that uh, that failure could lead to consequences that could impact your career. And I think that's important, especially having worked in growth now for over 20 years. I try to pass that down to all the people that I work with as well, because ultimately, in order to grow any business, you have to take some risks. You can't just play it safe all the time. So you have to have that growth mindset, and you have to encourage people on the team to really come up with new ideas. And the whole idea of running experiments is that you don't really know what the outcome is. If you do know the outcome, then you're not clearly running experiments that really have that level of risk or that level of outcome to really grow the business as well.
Yeah. You're describing the, you know, the buzzword of psychological
Yeah,
safety, right? And
yeah,
so for any of
definitely.
the listeners out there who want to go, you know, dig a little bit more deeper into, you know, what he's sharing, is that's really kind of the essence of the topic. And I think there's a lot of stuff that's coming out on that right now.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I know that all of your insights were incredibly valuable. When somebody wants to reach out and try to find you to get more information, where should they go? How would they find you?
Yeah, so the best way to reach me, there's two places. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Just search for me, Lomit Patel, and I connect with anyone who reaches out to me. I love to uh, um, share a lot of information on LinkedIn, and the other place you could get hold of me is I have a blog where I continue to write a lot of articles, and that's really simply my name, Lomit, Lomit Patel, Patel.com.
That's amazing. Well, again, thank you so much for being on the show. And thank you for everybody for joining us. This is Stacey McKibben with the Master Communicator Podcast. With more ideas and insights, if you'd like more, please go to www.concilioteam.com. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.
Great. You too. Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you.